Welcome back. We're so excited for episode 2 of HITSZN. My name is Erica Whitaker. I'm joined yet again by the founder of HITZero Media, Nick Henderson.
Hey, everyone.
And today we have a really cool guest for you. I'm so excited. So we are joined by someone who is a Navarro cheerleader. He cheers at Cheer Athletics Plano on the Cheetahs. And fun fact about him, he's just coming up on his first year of cheer. So without further ado, Ayden Rogers.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you, Ayden?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Cool. So welcome to HITSZN. And we're excited, right? You cheer for a gym, a school that is pretty well known.
Synonymous with cheer.
So tell us a little bit about your cheer career. You're only coming up on a year, so how does that work?
Yeah. So back, I believe it was my junior year basketball season of high school. I really wanted something to do. I was in the marching band, and it had just finished up, and I really wanted, something to fill my time. And someone said, you should try cheer. And I was like, that doesn't sound that bad. And I started getting into it, and throughout all of high school, I just did like cheers and chants. I never learned how to like stunt or anything along those lines. And then once I graduated, I was like, I never see guys like co-eding. Like I'll see it on Instagram or YouTube, but it's like I really want to learn how to do that. And I met someone at a clinic, and he started teaching me everything he knows. And I just got into it, and I started learning, and it literally like took up my life. And it just got me where I am today. It got me into the college that I honestly never thought I would be able to get into.
That's incredible. That's so cool. So what was that process like? Like, how did you even hear about Navarro? Was it just through Instagram and then you were like, oh, I need to go there? Or was it like a dream?
So honestly, it's a funny story. I had just went to a clinic. I just wanted to go and stunt, and I didn't even have any intentions of going to the school. I just wanted to just stunt and meet people and get connections. And I went down, and they tried to get me to try out, and I was like, I'm not ready. I'm not prepared or anything. And they have a gym on campus that people go to afterwards to stunt. And I went there to stunt afterwards and stunted with some of the Navarro cheerleaders. And they told the coach about me. And I went back to Dallas because that's where I was staying. And I woke up the next morning to a DM on Instagram. He was like, hey, I heard you did really good. I was just wondering if I gave you an offer, like, what would you say? And I was like, oh, like, honestly, I don't know. I would have to think about it. And he was like, well, I would kind of need to know within like the next 36 hours if you would be willing. And I was just like, 36 hours to move halfway across the country is not a lot of time, but I'll think about it, and I'll talk with my parents. And it took a little bit of convincing, but once I explained them like in cheer terms, like the opportunity that was presented, they were all for it.
Yeah, this is like going to probably like a school in the Northeast and playing hockey, or going to a southern school like Alabama, Florida, Clemson, playing football. Like, it's hard to put in perspective for people who don't have that information of like how big Navarro is in the cheer world, specifically for collegiate. So you get this DM. There are a lot of people probably right now watching thinking he just went on a whim. They sent him a DM on Instagram and asked him to be a part. So you get this DM, you go home, you think about this, and then so what's that decision process look like? When you made your decision, yes, I'm going to go, what happened next?
Well, I let him know. I was like, yeah, I'm interested. Like, I would love to be a part of the team. And he was like, I think like the first message he said after this, he was like, this is going to be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And I was like, he seems pretty confident. And so after that, I gave him some of my information, and then I applied to the school so I could get in. And then I got my my transcripts all sent in. And then honestly from there, like it was just waiting until NCAA camp. I had to book my flights. I think I had to go to Texas from like July 13th until like July 20th. And have NCAA camp, and just I got to meet my teammates, and it was it was so cool, and honestly, I can't wait to do it next year and welcome in some of like the rookies since I'll be coming in as a vet. But yeah, it was honestly like it all happened really fast. Like 1 second I was not sure exactly where I wanted to go to college and what I wanted to do, and the next second I was going to one of the most known cheer schools in the country.
How did it feel coming in, as the newbie? Navarro has such this, this huge history. They've pumped out so many incredible athletes to cheer along in the same place, with some of the same coaches. What did that feel like to you coming in? Did you struggle with, feeling out of place, with imposter syndrome? Did you feel like you had earned your way in?
Honestly, coming in, I kind of just laid back and kind of just like started learning like who people were and throwing myself in friend groups and seeing who I get along with. And then as the season went on, we all started getting a lot closer, obviously. And then that's when we could really start like competing with each other and start having fun. Because, I mean, everyone that goes to Navarro, like they're usually the best where they came from, and now you're at a school where you're competing for a spot. You're no longer the best, so it brings out the competition and it really like pushes everyone to be their best. And I think that really helps like keep Navarro going. Like, yeah, you may not come in and you may not be the most talented, but you definitely can leave and have a huge impact on your cheer career.
Do you think the success of bringing in all these top athletes and having them hold themselves to such a high accountability for the type of athlete that they bring in for their team, do you think that says a lot about the different athletes that you get to meet on your team and what the end result could potentially be?
Yeah, I genuinely think like having all the different backgrounds and having all the different like cultures like coming in, it honestly helps us mix and match, and it just helps us almost like change into like a more like mature, more like developed person. Like there was some things that I wouldn't do, but meeting other people and meeting some of like my vets and stuff like that, they just helped me just like with cheer, but also just like normal things in life. And it just helps me like push onto that path and where I like want to go next in life.
Yeah, that's really incredible. So not only are you a Navarro cheerleader, you also cheer on an all-star team with Cheer Athletics, the Cheetahs. And I'd love to hear, like, what was that like? You go from all-star to, more of the school side. How do you balance those two?
Honestly, I ask myself that same question every day. It is a very, very busy and chaotic schedule. But the coaches at Navarro and the coaches for my all-star team, they do good making sure there's no conflicts. And if there is, like, talking it out. But, I mean, like, for instance, on Mondays, like, I'll have college practice. I'll have it from 12:30 till 3. And then I'll go to the caf, get some food, go shower, and then I'm leaving the college by like 4:30, so I can get up to Cheer Athletics by 6ish. Usually we have workouts from 6:30 to 7, and then I have practice 7 to 10. And yeah, it's a very busy and constant schedule. And especially as we're starting to get into comp season, we have majors coming up after Christmas break, and then we got cheer sport, NCAA, all that. It'll get more and more busy, more and more practice added. But I definitely think the coaches do a really good job being able to balance it, especially with all the college athletes we have on Cheetahs. They do a really good job with it.
So do you have a lot of teammates that you share with Navarro and the Cheetahs?
So to be honest, I was the only person from Navarro that was on Cheetahs. I just recently got a second teammate added to Cheetahs, and I was like, hey, like, you should really do this. I think you would thrive. Like, he loves co-editing, and he's doing really great, and he's only been doing it for a couple weeks now with Cheetahs. And then there's some people from Trinity Valley that are on our team. I think there's 3 of them, and 3 or 4, and they're people I talk to all the time and get really close with.
So take yourself back 10 years, okay? You're probably just coming into middle school, right? 10
Yep.
years ago or so, maybe
Yeah.
coming out of grade school, coming into middle school. And we're having this conversation, and we say, you're going to be a cheerleader on one of the greatest collegiate cheer teams in the country. What would you say?
I'd be so confused. I would be like, how did I even get here? 10 years ago, I was like in love with baseball. Like that was my life. And yeah, I would be really confused. I would be in shock, and then I would probably try and prepare myself and do things to honestly start switching to cheer. Yeah, I like, and I honestly at night I still sometimes think like, what if I didn't do that one thing? What if I never did try and do high school or cheer in high school? Would I be here? Where would I be? But honestly, like, I'm really glad that I did choose cheer, and I'm glad that I went down this path because I really do love it.
That's awesome. So tell me, what is your maybe favorite, maybe not, but what is the competition that you are looking forward to the most this year?
Honestly, it's hard for me to say because all of them have like a little, like a special reason why I'm really looking forward to it. Last year I was at Cheer Athletics, the Charlotte location, and I got to go to majors, and we didn't do the best. So now that I get to go to majors again, I really want to like redeem myself. I'm really looking forward to cheer sport because I know some of my old teams are going to be there, and I get to see everybody. So I'm really looking forward to that. The competition itself that I'm looking forward to most is NCAA All-Star. It's in Dallas. I'll get to compete in the arena again. I get to compete or showcase that Friday night again that we got to do last year. And now I get to be on such a big name team, and everyone will be watching us. It'll be so great.
I'm excited about NCAA. So I'm actually going to NCAA this year. I'm going to be down there probably from like Thursday to Monday, just grabbing a ton of footage, meeting people, hopefully being able to connect with others and teams and so on and so forth. So what would you tell someone who's never been to NCAA before? What's your top 3 pieces of advice for NCAA?
One, pay attention to where you're going because it is a big city and a lot of people. 2, soak it all in. Go and watch all the teams you can. Go and watch. Last year there was a Japan team, I believe, that came. That was all guys, and it was so cool to watch them. And then really just take pictures and make those memories. Like when I look back, there are some of those pictures and memories that I see from competing and just being with my friends that it was so much fun. And just explore the city. It was really nice. I think one of the days we didn't compete until later, so me and my friends, maybe like 5 or 6 other people, we went and all rented scooters and just rode around downtown Dallas, and it was really fun just seeing everything and going to have some of the food, things like that.
And this is the last year that NCAA is in Dallas. They've made the announcement that they are moving to Houston, right?
Yeah.
And so I heard it is a very big deal. Everyone is very excited. They're trying to leave Dallas with a huge bang. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
I want to go back to something that you said. So you talked about this year I get to cheer on a well-known team.
Mm-hmm.
What is that feeling going to be like? You are walking into NCAA with a name on your chest that everybody knows. Those girls are going to go crazy. And it's girls that, of course, it's the older ones, but it's those younger ones,
Mm-hmm.
those 8, 9, 10-year-olds that are like, whoa, I want to do that. Like, what is that feeling?
Honestly, it's such a big honor for me. I know last year when we went to majors and we went to NCAA, I went out of my way to watch Cheetahs because they're a large co-ed team, and I love co-ed stunts myself. And I was like, man, it would be so cool to be on that team. Like, that's like my dream team. And like now that I'm on it, I'm like, I know other people see it the same way, and I know like everyone's watching and everyone's nitpicking the routine, and in my eyes, like, I just want to make it as good and as entertaining as possible, so they can have the same thing. And honestly, hopefully I can do the same thing and like bring them towards Navarro and bring them towards Cheetahs and have them move and chase to their cheer dreams.
It's a huge platform. And that comes with a huge responsibility, right? Because you have this name now on your shirt or on your uniform or on your bag or whatever the case may be. And that comes with a set of humility, right? Like you don't walk onto that team just because you wanted to. You have to earn your spot, and you have to keep earning your spot. And so how or what advice would you give to the younger generation, to your point, that will see this and it will inspire them? How do you remain humble in that point that, yes, I have an amazing opportunity that a lot of people will not have? How do you stay humble through that?
Honestly, I always remind myself, like, I haven't been in it that long, and you have to start somewhere. You always start at the beginning, and you can progress as fast as you can. It just depends on how bad you want it and how bad you're willing to sacrifice for it. For me, I was in the gym every day. There was no off days whatsoever. I could have school until 7. I'll go to the gym from 7 to 9, or I'll whatever it takes, because I wanted to be the best. And I still do want to be the best. And back at Navarro, I'm always studying extra. I'm always getting extra reps in and asking how I can get better. So I really think, like, reminding myself that, you know, I had to start somewhere, but also reminding myself that I put in the work and I went out of my way to be the best I could, helps me. And it also helps me tell other people, like, hey, you're struggling with a skill, like, keep repping it out. Like, if that's the skill you're struggling with and you really want that skill, push for that skill. Push yourself even harder, because at the end of the day, like, you don't want to just hit it once and then be like, all right, that's good enough. Like, I want to be able to do a skill and know I'm going to hit it over and over and over and over again. So I always try and tell people, like, don't chase, like, that one thing. Like, chase the perfection. Literally just chase the perfection.
I love that because, you know, like what we talked a lot about here, you know, Nick shared last episode that, you know, how his daughter came to cheer. But my daughter was, she started with acro first, and then she joined a Cheer 101 class and went through that whole thing. But I will never forget, it was in the springtime. So, of course, you know, the cheer teams are getting ready for their performances. And my daughter's over there doing like a Cheer 101 class. And, you know, she's like 7, 8. And all of a sudden, these girls come out in these gorgeous uniforms, and they're flipping and they're throwing and they're doing all the things. And my daughter comes out of that class, and the first thing she said to me was, "Mommy, I want to do that." And it's so cool to watch the older generation have such an impact on this younger generation. Like, they want that. They want to know, how do we become you? What's the next step? What's that? You know, so it's such an honor to hear, you know, the things like putting in the work and, you know, showing up and making sure that you're being humble. How do you also balance all of that with schoolwork?
So at Navarro, one of the biggest things is school. They've made it like a school comes first and then you're an athlete. So, for example, like, we all have to go to class regardless. And if someone doesn't go to class, the whole team runs for it. And it kind of puts in that, like, hey, like, you have to stay on your stuff. We all have to go to study hall on Fridays. We all have to go to study hall on Fridays. I get my days mixed up. And it's mandatory. You're there for 2 hours. You work on your schoolwork. We all have tutors if we need to go to them. And we're all in the same classes. We really try, and we have a separate advisor for all the athletes, and she tries and puts all of us in classes together so we can help each other, and we're not just left alone. And it may not be, you know, you're in a class with your whole team, but you may be in there with one or other 2 people that you can talk and do projects with, and it does help. In all my classes, I have somebody that's on the team. So if I'm struggling with someone or struggling with something, or they're struggling with a subject, we'll be able to help each other out. And honestly, like, I think all my teachers do a really, really good job of explaining, and all the resources are out there for me to succeed.
That's great. And I think it's important, right? Because we see in the cheer world, especially at the younger generation and the older, cheer involves a lot of travel. It is a lot of travel. And so with travel means you're missing school. Now, with the collegiate level, it makes it a little bit easier, right? You're in a college setting. the technology's a little bit there, but for the younger generation, there's a lot that miss school. And so it's really comforting to hear that even at a collegiate level where you're cheering at the highest levels, school does come first. School still is important because at the end of the day, you need that education. You need that foundation to be able to propel you once cheer is over. Because one day cheer will unfortunately be over. Okay, so let's kind of switch gears a little bit and let's talk about what you're doing. So tell us more about your role with Navarro and where are you at in the routine?
So right now I am a stunner. I really do wish I tumbled, and I kind of want to learn how to tumble. I need to learn how to tumble. But yeah, my main role is stunning, helping throw pyramid, throw baskets. We're still working on like certain parts of the routine, so we don't really have a set routine. We're just working on certain skills that they think, would look good in the routine. But yeah, mainly just stunning. I really do hope I get to learn how to tumble though. That's something over Christmas break I'm gonna really push.
On those back walkovers.
Oh yeah.
Straight knees, pointed toes.
Yeah.
That's super fascinating to hear. So again, kind of going off that and the whole Navarro, how do you protect your mental health? The stress is probably insane, not just with your athletics. And, you're talking about an incredible world's team, but, at Navarro, what do you do to help protect that?
I really try and find me time. So Tuesdays and Thursdays we have double practices, but we have it to where 3 and 6 is a break, or maybe it's 3 to 8. It kind of just depends on the day. We have a break, and usually I try to go back, shower, maybe do a little bit of homework, and then watch TV, take a nap, or just go out and do something fun, like maybe go skating, go bowling, go watch a movie, just something that takes my mind off of cheer, takes my mind off of school. I don't have to worry about it. And it really just helps me, it helps me bond with my teammates more, but it also helps me just have fun. I love cheer, I do, and I already make it my whole life, but I do like my little gaps of doing something else or just relaxing.
So you've had a very short stint in cheer, comparative to a lot of athletes and probably parents that are watching. What is something that you have learned about your short cheer career that you feel like needs to change in cheer?
Ooh, that's a hard question.
Maybe it's something that you've seen at competitions. Maybe it's something that you've felt or seen at practices or you've seen from other teams. But what's one thing that stands out in your mind that we really need to change this about cheer? This is not a correct perception of cheer.
One thing I just wish cheer was more mainstream. I wish more people knew about it. I wish as a kid I knew more about cheer or gymnastics, because as I do love this sport, I wish I could have got into it sooner. I feel like my growth and progress would have happened so much faster and I could be at a higher level than I am now. I just wish I wish there was more smaller gyms or things that are easier to find. When I first wanted to start learning how to co-ed, it took me a while to find a gym that I could go to and start learning. But I definitely think it's headed in the right direction. I feel and I don't know if that's now that because I am in the cheer world, I see it more often, but I feel like I can go and look online and I'll see cheer things and it starts to slowly introduce itself to the world. I feel like when I go in public, I can see cheerleaders, or after a competition, I see people. I just see a lot of cheerleaders.
Well, hopefully that's due to Hit Zero Media and all of the media we're pushing out, because that was a big reason why I started Hit Zero Media, was that I've been a filmmaker for a long time now, and when you're a filmmaker, you bring your camera everywhere. If it's moving, you're going to capture it, right? And so whether it's one of my younger sons playing a sport or our daughter playing or whatever the case may be, I've always got my camera rolling. And it's become easier and easier to do that with all of the different technology and so on and so forth. So when I decided to bridge that gap between filmmaking and my daughter's love for cheer, I start to investigate a little bit more. I start to dig a little deeper, and I've noticed that there just really wasn't any media coverage. There really wasn't anybody in this game of the content in really digging deep into cheer. And that's where the whole Hit Zero Media came from. It birthed out of that. And the more and more that I get ingrained into cheer and meet new faces and places, there really isn't a lot. And the stuff that's in the media right now is somewhat negative. People always want to talk about the negative things. They want to talk about who's being sued for what. No names mentioned. We're going to, we need to talk about the bigger things. We need to talk about shining the bright light on the amazing athletes like yourself that are bettering themselves, bettering the community, and really pouring into it. So hopefully Hit Zero Media can continue to be a light into that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that, you are brand new to it. That was something that, we have kids that, they're eat, sleep, breathing in the gym right now. But, it's so interesting to have, really great role models to come in and, get excited. How do how are you noticing other teammates of yours? Are they just as excited as you? Are you seeing more boys come into the co-ed stunting?
Yes. So, honestly, I do. I wish more boys would step out of their comfort zone and go more towards cheer. I feel like a lot of the guys who are in cheer did gymnastics, and so that's kind of their path into cheer. But yeah, I wish more guys would just step out of their comfort zone and just go. It's a cool sport. Like, I get to throw people for a living. Like, I get to do cool skills that, like, I never thought I could do. And I wish guys would just step out of their comfort zone like I did, because it is a great sport, and it is a lot different than any other sport. I'll say that. I can't compare it to anything else. I don't think any sport could have prepared for this other than maybe like something like along the lines of gymnastics.
I have an older son. He's 14. Going on 15, and you bring someone around something often and frequent and consistently, they start to kind of ask some questions like, hey, what's this about? What's this? And we actually sat down last night and we were talking to my oldest son just about cheer, because we're preparing for the comp season. Our comp season starts in 2 weeks. And so we were asking him just like, hey, tell us a little bit about, like, what are you thinking, and so on and so forth. And he's actually, now this is the third season we are all kind of in this together as a family. And he has made mention now that he has interest in potentially joining cheer next season. What advice would you give this younger boy generation coming into a sport that is predominantly historically female? What advice would you give them?
It may be a little bit biased. Learn how to tumble. Learn how to tumble at a young age, because once you get to a certain age, it gets really hard to make your body do certain things. Especially with guys, because they start not necessarily maturing at an older age, but their bodies start being able to get like the muscle mass they would need. I really think learn how to tumble, and then as you start hitting puberty, I think then start really like nailing down those co-eds. And then you can be a great all-around athlete. Like, I started late enough that I could get really good co-eds, but now I feel like it's too late for me to learn how to tumble, and it's a lot harder for me to learn how to tumble because I'm so cautious of what could happen if something went wrong or injuring my body and not being able to throw people. So I definitely think attack tumbling, go for it. Really put yourself out there, and then stretch, like have good jumps, and then like really start working on stunning, and just understanding it doesn't have to be the hardest stunts, but every little thing helps. And once you understand stunning, like it all goes together. I may be able to not know a lot about a skill, but I could tell you like the mechanics of kind of just how to do it, just because I have an understanding of cheer.
Yeah, I love that. I want to go back to something you said about injuries. So, man, I don't think there is a sport that can rival cheer, maybe football, maybe lacrosse, but these injuries, I mean, it is unbelievable. You're throwing girls from 10 feet up in the air. These girls are doing fulls, guys are doing fulls, and injuries are common. And how do you, maybe less so you because you're not tumbling, but how do you see your teammates responding to injuries? What is that like? Maybe they injured themselves right in front of you and they're trying to come back, or maybe this was their first injury. How do you see people respond to that?
I honestly see a lot of different responses. Some people are, they're so eager to get back out there, and you kind of have to like, hey, you need to take time off. Like, you're not doing yourself any justice by just going back out there, because you're going to re-injure yourself, and it'll probably end up getting worse. And then there's other people who understand, like, I need to take time off. Like, as much as I don't want to, I will come back stronger, and my body will be healed, and that's what you really need. It is really, really hard to cheer and not have your body at 100%. And, yeah, it really makes things difficult. But I definitely think, like, while you do have off time, like, take cold showers, make sure you stretch extra, make sure you cool down stretch, make sure you do those little things. Like, I tape my wrists to help protect my wrists, and just little things that help your body kind of just get used to throwing yourself around or throwing other people around.
Are some of these things that you're mentioning now, are these things that you were introduced to before going to collegiate cheer, or now that you have the ability and the access to, I'm assuming, trainers and athletic folks, are these things that you're being introduced to now because you're in a collegiate setting, or are these some of these things that you've brought with you into the collegiate setting?
I definitely think I brought some of the things with me as far as like taping, but being at a college that has athletic trainers definitely helps. Yes, and honestly, like, I really do wish all-star programs, like, I know at Plano they do, but not a lot of all-star programs. I wish they have athletic directors that could be there for kids and kind of just help them, like, learn more about their body, so they understand, like, hey, I do need to stretch more, or hey, if my ankle's hurting, I need to tape it, and then they know how to tape it on their own. That is one thing I definitely learned in college. I didn't really know how to tape my wrist properly, and I would even look on YouTube and like how to tape your wrists, and there was never really a demonstration that worked for me. But almost, I want to say it was my first day walking in. I was like, "Hey, coach, like my wrists hurt," and he was like, "Yeah, like I got you. Let me show you how to tape your wrist." And immediately it helped the pain go away, and it helped it just helped my wrist heal fast.
Do you think that there is a lack of that? You mentioned in Plano that they have that. Do you think that there is a lack of and a need, and that needs to be part of all-star gym programs? And do you think that that would help cut back on injuries that we're seeing in the all-star world?
I really do think it would. Honestly, I had never really thought of it, but once I got to Plano and I saw that they have like a whole gym workout space, they have like massage beds, athletic trainers, people to be there if you get injured. Once I saw that, I really questioned like why it's not a thing everywhere.
It's like we need to go to Plano.
We need to go to Plano. And it's one of those things where if you want to be the best, you have to do the things that are the best. There's a reason why professional athletes are professional athletes. And it doesn't just go with going onto the stage for 2.5 minutes and do that. And maybe we go to practice 2 times a week. It's everything else, right? Like, we only get one human body. This is it. And we got to do what we got to do to keep it, in the best shape that we possibly can. And I feel like there's just a lack of that there in all-star programs. And we are relying these kids, they are children for the most part, to be able to have the body mechanics and be able to have the understanding of this, but we don't give them the tools to be successful. So it's really refreshing to hear that is available in an all-star program, and maybe that'll inspire some other all-star programs to implement that in theirs. I mean, it's probably not the easiest thing to do, but when you do, you can really develop these wonderful athletes.
Yeah, I really, we've talked a lot about, the schooling, the training, the mental health, the all of the different things, but I'd love to hear from you who is an athlete. Tell me about your ideal coach. What does that look like? What is your ideal coach doing?
It's hard to say because I haven't got to experience that many different coaches in cheer. I can't really mix and match them and tell you what the best things are, but I will say the best coaches are the ones that I can go to and almost not think of them as a coach. I can think of them as a more friend or more of a figure that I can look up to, and that alone just helps me create that bond with them. I think somebody that is understanding but is still hard on you is very important in the cheer career. I think having someone there to push you to be your best self is very it's just very important. But I also think that knowing where to draw the line, understanding like, hey, this may, maybe let's try this a different way. Let's have another approach at this. Maybe let's give this skill a rest. Let's work on something else, or let's call it a day. Because one thing I used to have a really bad habit of was getting frustrated at myself, and I've slowly learned that it doesn't help getting frustrated at yourself. It really, if anything, makes it worse. So taking a step back and having someone that can tell you that or help you that and let you see that even when you're frustrated goes a long way in building that trust. And
So as you probably know, we have a segment in our podcast called Questions That Hit Hard. But before we do that, typically we don't have athletes on the podcast on HITSZN. So since we do, when we go live, I'll go live from time to time on Instagram, and we'll grab all these athletes that will tune in and we'll chat. We have a little section that we like to play where it's just rapid fire questions. So we're going to ask you some rapid fire questions. These are really specific to you as an athlete. They are nothing to do with really your cheer career. They're more comp day focused, and we want your first response, and we're going to move really, really quickly. You up for the challenge? All right, so first question. Do you tie your right shoe or your left shoe first on comp day?
right.
Second question, base, back spot, or flyer, what would you be?
Base.
If you are going to compete in the afternoon, do you eat lunch before or don't eat until after you compete?
I do eat before.
Favorite comp day snack?
Sour Skittles.
Your team doesn't hit on day one. What do you do to prepare for day two?
Think through the routine, encourage my teammates, and tell them that like we've prepared for this moment, and you know what to do. Don't overthink it.
Favorite uniform color?
Blue.
If you weren't to cheer for Navarro but wanted to stay in the collegiate game, where else would you cheer?
Weber.
Oh, good one.
Coming out. If you had to pick any tumble pass, what's your favorite one?
That I wish I could do or watch?
No, watching it, sorry.
On dead mat or spring?
Dead.
1.5 through the full whip pull.
All right, last question. Who has been the one person that you have gotten to cheer with in your short career that just really left you with a wow factor?
Skill-wise?
Yep.
That's hard. There's a guy at Navarro, his name's Brian. He is insane. At Navarro, we do bigs and littles, and he is my big, and he is from Ecuador, and his partner, she's also from Ecuador. They make everything look so simple. And when he explains it, he doesn't speak that much English, but when he does, he's like, this is really, really easy. You just need to let her jump, and then you jump. And I'm just like, okay, and then it works. So I'm just like, wow, like everything he does is effortless. And I'm really excited to watch them compete partner stunt this year.
Fantastic. Well, for those of you, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the cities that you're going to be in? So if people want to come and check out Navarro and see your team compete, where can they see you?
Let's see. Navarro, we're pretty secluded in Corsicana, but we will have, we'll go to Daytona for our competition. I believe that's mid-April-ish. I went last year, not as an athlete, but just as a spectator, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. I'll remind myself to wear sunscreen because I got so sunburnt. As far as Cheetahs, we have a competition next weekend that's in Dallas, and then we'll be in Indianapolis. I think it's like January 12th, 13th. Yep. We'll be there for majors. Cheer Sport. I'm actually not sure when Cheer Sport it is. I want to say it's somewhere in February.
Yep.
And then you got NCAA All-Star, and then we'll have Worlds.
That's awesome. Well, I can tell you that for me personally, I'll be at Cheer Sport Atlanta. So we'll see you there. So we'll have to sync back up and see how your season's going. I will be at NCAA this year, so we'll get another pulse there. And then my goal is to be at Worlds as well. So, Ayden, this has been amazing.
Yes.
To really just get a good opportunity to hear from a collegiate cheerleader, specifically at Navarro, and
A world's
athlete, and just new to the game. Like, just coming in with a bang. There's going to be a lot of people watching this and hearing this that are going to be like, how?
Yes.
So thank you for coming on.
Yes, absolutely. I personally will watch your career with great interest. It's going to be so awesome to follow along yet another young person just embarking on their dreams. So thank you so much.
Fantastic. So everybody who's watching at HITSZN, that was with Ayden Rogers, a new Navarro athlete, Cheetahs athlete, everywhere athlete. So catch him throughout the season. Wish them great luck. And thanks for joining in. We'll see you on the next episode.
See you next episode.